At my 8-year-old daughter's birthday, no one showed up because my sister sent fake messages pretending to be me, saying it was canceled. My parents took her side and didn't even wish my daughter a happy birthday. I didn't cry. I did this. The next day, they were the ones screaming in a panic. Everything was ready. I ordered the cake 2 weeks in advance. Unicorn, strawberry cream, glittery icing, just like Lily wanted. I hung the decorations late at night while she was sleeping. Bought pink paper plates, purple balloons. The table was overloaded with snacks, drinks, and those useless cupcakes no one eats, but that look amazing on Instagram. Lily woke up, hugged me from behind, and whispered, "Is it today?" "Yep, today." She beamed. She's 7. That magical age when you still believe that if you try really, really hard, things will just work out. And God, we tried. We really did. Greg was blowing up balloons. 3 popped in a row. The cat panicked and dove under the bed. Lily was counting down the minutes to 3. We'd invited 15 kids. She handwrote every invitation herself, carefully picked which stickers to give to whom. "So it's fair," she said. At 3 o'clock, no one showed up. Fine. People are late. Traffic. Kids. Parking. We stayed chill. At exactly 3:15, the doorbell rang. I thought finally. And yes, it started. Sort of. Greg's parents, Susan and Robert, stood there with a wrapped gift and a framed certificate that read Granddaughter of the Year. I still don't know if it was Grandma's idea, Grandpa's, or both. Lily hugged them like they were the whole party. And in that moment, they were. She showed them the decorations, the cake, the balloons. Everything she'd spent the last 2 weeks preparing. I watched her. And for one stupid second, I actually believed it was going to be okay. By 3:30, no one else had come. Greg said, "Maybe they're just running late. Want me to check messages?" And that's when I felt my stomach twist. Lily stood by the window, fidgeting with her dress, whispering, "Maybe they went to the park first? Maybe they'll come after?" I nodded, smiled, crooked but brave. By 4 o'clock, Lily was sitting in her sequin dress in a chair, rocking forward and back. I heard Greg's mom trying to distract her. "Want to watch a cartoon?" Lily didn't answer. She was waiting, holding on. My girl, tougher than steel. She just asked quietly, "Maybe they're all sick?" I walked into the kitchen at that point. Not because I needed water, just because I needed not to say something in front of my kid that I couldn't take back. At 4:28, my phone rang. One of the moms. I grabbed it like it was 911. "Courtney? Just checking. How's Lily feeling? Is she doing better? Such a shame you had to cancel the party." "I'm sorry, what?" I blinked. I thought I misheard. "Well, I got your message. That she had a fever, and the party was off. I didn't send that." "Oh, that's weird. It came from your number. The one you use for school stuff." "I'll read it." "Hi. Sadly, Lily's not feeling well, so we have to cancel the party. Sorry for the late notice." I told her it wasn't true, that the party was still on. She sounded surprised, said she'd come by. I hung up, and something inside me clicked. You know that sound when a door locks from the other side? That. I knew who did it. Fake number. New SIM card. Maybe a message copied from an old group chat I once added my sister to. It had to be Lauren. No one else would go that far to sabotage a child's birthday. This was payback because her son wasn't invited. And here's the worst part. I'd gone to her. In person. No texting. I explained. I asked for understanding. Her kid had bullied Lily at school, pushed her, ripped her stuff, called her a bug-eyed crybaby. And yeah, I said, "Please don't take it personally. Lily doesn't want him there. And I support that. It's her day." Lauren nodded. "Of course. It's fine." She smiled. Turns out, that smile had a knife behind it. By 4:45, I was calling every parent. Some said, "Oh, we're out of town, you canceled, remember?" Some said they'd swing by if they could. Some didn't answer. At 5 o'clock, I posted in the school parent group. "The party is not canceled. Lily is perfectly healthy. Someone sent out false info under my name. We're still here and happy to have you." And, believe it or not, they started showing up. Not all, but a few. Jade's mom came with a teddy bear the size of a 6th grader. Allison brought her twins. Some others followed. 2.5 hours late. With wide eyes, wine, carrot sticks, and 100 apologies. Lily blew out the candles at 5:50. No big smile. No wish. Just snuffed them out. Maybe she made a wish and didn't tell me. Maybe she didn't. I didn't ask. The party rolled forward anyway. Juice on the carpet, balloons getting popped under tiny feet, kids climbing on the windowsills. Susan and Robert kept their cheerful act going. Greg kept saying, "It's fine." But I saw how he clenched his jaw every time Lily looked at the door, hopeful. Every time someone walked into the building. I smiled, took photos, and silently started building my mental list. Nancy and Frank. My parents. No call. No card. Even though they said they'd be here. Said they got her a doll. Said, "Of course we'll come." They knew. They absolutely knew. Lauren, the one who can't handle rejection. The one whose son didn't make the list. The one I spoke to like an adult. And the one who smiled in my face, then stabbed my daughter in the back. And me, the one who still thought we could talk things through. That grown-ups wouldn't take their grudges out on children. Cute, right? Later that night, when Lily was asleep, Greg stood in the kitchen with a mug and said, "Maybe it was all just a mistake." I nodded. Slowly. "Sure. Classic mix-up. Random number. Mysterious message. Radio silence from everyone. Just bad luck." He didn't say anything after that. I went out to the porch, sat on the steps, and for the first time all day, I exhaled. Not cried. Not shook. Just let it go. The kind of breath you take when something inside you shifts. Not a crack. A break. From that moment on, everything was different. If all of this had come out of nowhere, maybe it would have hurt more. But the truth is, every disaster has a basement. And this one, it had a whole damn crawl space I'd been pretending didn't exist for way too long. I could say it started with Tyler, with the name calling, the shoving, the way he looked at Lily like she didn't belong. But it goes back way further than that. I was adopted when I was 5 months old. My mom used to love telling the story, how she saw my photo in the agency catalog and just knew. Her little pink bundle. She said she fed me my first bottle and cried from happiness. 7 months later, she found out she was pregnant. Total surprise. She'd done the whole infertility roller coaster, hormones, tests, specialists, so when it just happened naturally, everyone called it a miracle. And I remembered that word, because that's when I first noticed I was no longer in the center. Lauren was born when I was a little over a year old, so we basically grew up side by side. Except we weren't raised the same. At first, I think they really did want me. My mom documented my first laugh, my first time sitting up, my first mama. There's a baby book, dusty, but still on the top shelf somewhere. Lauren's baby book? Leather cover, gold lettering, full-color photo spreads straight from the hospital. Each page captioned in my mom's perfect handwriting. My real little star. I didn't fully get it at first. But by age 3, I got it. When Lauren cried, she got scooped up, rocked, kissed. When I cried, I got, "You're too sensitive." Or, "You need to be the big sister now." I was 3.5. When Lauren started crawling, I brought her a teddy bear. Tried to play with her. My mom stopped me. "Don't touch her. You don't know how yet. You'll scare her." She said it like it was nothing. And from then on, it was always some variation of, "Don't interfere. Don't bother her. Give her the doll," she asked nicely. "Share your toy, she's smaller." I was still a child. Just not the child. School was an adventure. I tried to be the easy one. Straight A's. Dishes done. No talking back. Lauren? Torn homework, slammed doors, endless drama. But Mom would smile and say, "She's got a sensitive soul. She needs space." I didn't get space. I got expectations. When I came home with a perfect score, Mom would nod. "Well, you've always been a hard worker." Lauren got a B and it was, "Look at that. She did it on her own." So proud of her. I didn't get mad. I just stopped expecting praise. When I was 9, I overheard Mom on the phone. She was laughing. If I'd known I'd get pregnant, we never would have started that whole adoption circus. You have no idea how much time and money it took. Then a pause. And then, no, I don't regret it. It's just, it ended up feeling kind of unnecessary. I stood in the hallway barefoot in my bunny pajamas and realized I wasn't a blessing. I was a backup plan. Later, I asked my dad, "Did you really want me?" He looked at me like I was a utility bill. Not cruel. Just blank. "We took you in, didn't we? That means something, right?" I don't remember him ever hugging me. Years later, after college, I met Greg. He was the first person I didn't feel like I had to audition for. I could be weird, tired, sarcastic, he never flinched. And then we had Lily. My Lily. Bright, funny, soft-hearted. I didn't know I could love someone so hard it hurt. Which is why, when all this started happening, it didn't feel like a betrayal against me. It felt like an attack on her. Lauren's life didn't exactly go according to plan. Quick marriage, even quicker divorce. Then came Tyler. He's 9 now. Lily is 7. Same elementary school. At first, it seemed convenient. Then it turned into hell. Tyler started small, calling her a nerd, then a crybaby. Then it got mean. He ruined her pencil case. Pulled her hair. Once, he got a few boys to surround her in the hallway and push her around like it was a game. A teacher finally stepped in. Lily came home sobbing. It took everything in me to get the story out of her. I went to the school. Talked to the teachers. Talked to Lauren. Calmly. No drama. Just, can you talk to him, please? Lily's struggling. Lauren waved it off. They're just kids. Stop making it into a thing. One day Lily came home quiet again. This time she didn't cry, just sat on the edge of her bed like her soul had leaked out. Finally, she said, Tyler told me we're not family. That you're adopted, so I'm not really their anything. I froze. Because that doesn't come from nowhere. That's not something 9-year-olds invent. That's something they hear. He said his mom told him that you're not real. You're just some other person. I hugged her tight. Sweetheart, being family isn't about blood. It's about love. About choosing someone. I chose your dad. He chose me. We chose you. And we'll always choose you. The next day I called Lauren. No yelling. Just, Tyler told Lily we're not part of your family. That I'm adopted. Did he come up with that himself? Pause. Then a nervous laugh. Oh, come on. He's a kid. Who knows what he understood? No one said that. You're being sensitive again. I told my parents too. Mom gasped like I'd accused her of arson. Where would he hear such a thing? We've always loved you like our own. I didn't answer. Because if I had, I might have started screaming. And honestly, Tyler's behavior wasn't random. Kids repeat what they hear. And if this was what he said out loud, God knows what else was whispered at home. Later, Lily said she didn't want him at her birthday party. I didn't hesitate. I told her I supported that. Fully. I went to Lauren. Face to face. Lily doesn't want Tyler there. He's been cruel to her. I'm not going to force her. Lauren listened. Nodded. No argument. Okay. That's your choice. Even my parents didn't object. Mom actually said, well, if that makes things easier. And I believed them. I believed they finally chose us. Me. Lily. I still don't know how I let myself be that naive. Lily was asleep, curled up under the blanket like a kitten, breathing soft and steady. It was her birthday, and she still believed in people. I didn't. I sat out on the porch, staring into the dark. Not crying, not shaking, just still, like my body was waiting for instructions on what to do next. And then it hit me, enough. The next morning, I was up at 6. Called the contractor. Hey, Steve. About the work at my parents' place? I'm not covering it anymore. Yeah, I know the roof's halfway done. Yep, I get it. No, not your fault. Just pack it up. Today. He paused for a second, then said, got it. We'll pull the tools and leave. Want me to explain anything to them? No need. They'll figure it out soon enough. I hung up. The renovation had been going on for 3 months. First the roof, then the exterior paint job. I'd been footing the bill in installments, quietly, without applause. They picked the colors, the contractor, the materials. Like it was their little project. They just sent me the invoices. Like always. I didn't argue. That's just how things had always been. At 9 a.m., I drove over. No warning. Opened the gate, walked past a ladder leaning against the wall, and knocked. Mom opened the door in a bathrobe, hair dyed and tucked under a net. Courtney? What are you doing here so early? I want to know what happened. Why didn't you come? Her lips tightened. Pause. Then. Well, it's all very awkward. But really, you kind of ruined it. Me. Dad showed up behind her, holding a newspaper like a shield. You didn't invite Tyler. You insulted your own family. Lauren was hurt. Tyler too. He's just a child and you pushed him out. You turned your back on your own. I explained everything to you. To both of you. And to Lauren. You all nodded along like you understood. Tyler bullied Lily at school. He got other kids to gang up on her in the hallway. She didn't want him there, and that was her right. They exchanged glances. Then Mom said, with that patronizing calm tone she'd perfected over the years, Lily's just a little girl. She doesn't understand that you don't shut out family. You should have guided her. Been the adult. So your answer to that was to not come at all. No birthday card, no gift, no phone call? You promised her. She waited for you. She stood at the window watching the empty yard. I was talking to a wall and knew it. But I couldn't stop. I kept pushing. Kept trying to find something in their faces. Some flicker of guilt or doubt or regret over what they did to a 7-year-old girl. But there was nothing. They didn't hear me. They didn't want to hear me. In that atmosphere? Dad shrugged. After how you humiliated Lauren, we couldn't come. And honestly, we didn't want to. I stood there, staring at them. These people I used to call my parents. The same people I once wrote letters to from college saying, "Thank you for raising me. I hope I make you proud." And now, I just felt cold. There was no conversation left to have. To them, I was no one. And Lily was nothing. Who sent the messages in my name? I asked. We didn't get any, Mom shot back way too quickly. I mean the other parents. Who told them the party was cancelled? We don't know, Dad said, already bracing for the exit. Could have been a mistake. Some glitch. Happens all the time with tech these days. Too fast. Too rehearsed. Well, for the record, the party still happened. People came. Despite it all. Just so you know. I turned and walked away. On the way to my car, I pulled out my phone and called Lauren. You were the one who sent those messages, right? The one saying Lily was sick and the party was off. What messages? What are you talking about? To Lily's classmates' parents. From my number. I have no idea what you're talking about. Maybe your account got hacked. That happens. You're the only one who had access to the group chat. And the only one who knew the exact guest list. I asked you to help, remember? And I did help, she snapped. Then you decided my son wasn't good enough for your little princess. You cut him out like he was garbage. He cried, Courtney. He couldn't sleep. He thought he was the problem. You get that? Do you get that he bullied my daughter? That he told her she was nothing? That you told him I was adopted? And so we weren't real family? Where do you think he got that idea? Silence. Then anger. He's a kid. He probably misunderstood something. Or made it up. You're always so damn dramatic. No wonder your daughter's the same. Don't call me again. The $6,000 I lent you? I expect it back in 2 weeks. Then it's court. Goodbye, Lauren. I hung up. Sat in my car. Closed my eyes. It wasn't freedom. Not exactly. It felt more like shedding skin that had long since rotted. Still burned, though. Like ripping off a scab. Back home, I opened my laptop and in 5 minutes. Canceled the automatic payments for my parents' bills. Removed them from my health insurance. Sent Lauren a formal demand for repayment. I'd lent her $6,000 last year. Just for a couple months, she said. Later that day, the contractor texted me a photo. Tools packed up, crew gone. The roof half-stripped. No shingles. A ladder still leaning against the siding. A chunk of the house exposed to the elements. They're already calling, Greg said, looking at my phone. I'm not answering. Good. He poured me tea. Sat next to me. Pulled me into a side hug. He didn't say, you did the right thing. Didn't say, took you long enough. He just stayed. And that was enough. All I could think was, no more. No more begging. No more reaching for scraps of love or approval. I'm not a project. Not a tax write-off. Not someone's charity success story. I'm a person. And my daughter is a person. And from this moment forward, we don't owe anyone a damn thing. The first voicemail came in at 7:13 a.m. At first it was just calls. Then the voicemails started long, raspy, Oscar-worthy performances of We're So Helpless. Mom cried. Dad groaned. They begged me to be reasonable. Said, everyone makes mistakes. Said what I did was inhuman. Said they had nowhere else to go. The roof was half finished. The house smelled like paint and wet drywall. Exposed wires. Dead outlets. All because and I quote, got offended. Offended. Gotta love when your clearly stated adult boundaries get reduced to she caught a mood. I mean, if I'd set their house on fire, I bet they'd call it being dramatic. They kept texting. Every day. Multiple times a day. Pleading, guilt-tripping, then threatening. Frank, aka Dad, even emailed me calling me a degenerate ingrate who forgot who raised her. I printed that one. Glossy paper. Might frame it, Parenting Achievement of the Year. Lauren stayed quiet for a while. I thought maybe, just maybe, she'd fade out with a shred of dignity. Nope. Not even 3 weeks later she got served. Not by accident. By me. Formal notice to repay the $6,000 she borrowed. With receipts. Bank transfers. Her handwritten IOU. Signature and all. She must have forgotten I'm not stupid. After that came the usual cycle. Calls, voicemails, passive-aggressive all-caps texts. Tone shifted from how could you to you'll die alone anyway. Bonus feature. A photo of Tyler crying with the caption, look what you did. Honestly? Maybe a licensed therapist should take a look at what she did. I didn't respond. Not because I'm above it. But because what's the point? I'm fresh out of energy to explain to grown adults why sabotaging a child's birthday isn't normal family stuff. But they weren't done yet. When the calls stopped working, they pulled the oldest trick in the book: go after the kid. One afternoon, Lily came home from school and said, "Grandma was there." "Where?" "At school. In the hallway. She and Grandpa gave me a box. Said they missed me. Said you won't let them see me." I froze. "What did you say to them?" "Nothing. I walked away." The box was on the kitchen table. I opened it. Inside was the doll they got her early but never gave her. And a card. "We'll always love you, even when your mom doesn't act nice." A therapist would have had a field day. Textbook manipulation. Undermining. Blame shifting. Nice job, Nancy. A+ in Emotional Abuse 101. I drove straight to the school. Sat down with the principal. We made a list. Who can pick up Lily and who can't? Guess who made the do not enter column? Legally, I had every right. They didn't know that. So 2 days later, they tried again. Security turned them away. That night, I got an email. "You have no right to keep us from our granddaughter. This is cruel. This is abuse. We deserve to be in her life." That's when the new plan hit. An anonymous call to CPS. Friday evening, a caseworker showed up. Polite. Professional. Even a little apologetic. I let her in. Gave her the tour. Pantry full. Homework done. Bathroom stocked. Lily cleaned safe, smiling. No red flags. Just a kid in a peaceful home. The caseworker asked the usual. "Does anyone yell at you? Do you feel safe here?" Lily nodded. Calm, clear, sure of herself. Before leaving, the woman said, "Sorry for the intrusion. I had to check. But honestly, there's more warmth in this house than in a lot of so-called complete families." I smiled. Tired but genuine. Inside, I was boiling. That was the last straw. No more letting things slide. Monday, I went to a lawyer. I brought the whole file. Texts, voicemails, bank transfers, the loan agreement, screenshots of Lauren's messages, and yes, a copy of the CPS complaint. I requested it. Legally entitled. The lawyer flipped through everything, then looked up. "You've done half my job for me. This is sustained emotional harassment, boundary violations, and possibly misuse of state systems. What are my options? Soft route? Restraining order. Hard route? Civil suit for damages. Up to you." I went soft. For now. We drafted legal notices for Lauren and my parents. Effective immediately, any contact would be considered harassment. Any attempt to approach Lily, via school, third parties, or electronically, would be documented and submitted as evidence. We also filed a police report for false claims. Included, the CPS file, an audio clip. Shout out to Greg for recording Lauren's rant where she said, "You and your brat are a problem," and written statements from 2 neighbors confirming Lily's well-being. I walked out of that station not feeling victorious. Just leveled, like the pressure in my head finally equalized. Then came silence. Real silence. Dense, total, eerie. No more calls. No more messages. Just the occasional read notification on the court portal from Lauren. Guess she finally realized I wasn't bluffing. 1 month passed. Then another. Lily started laughing more. So did I. The debt hearing was uneventful. Lauren tried stalling. "I'm between jobs. Tyler's been sick." But the judge wasn't buying it. She was ordered to repay the full amount, plus interest and legal fees. And now she's flagged in every credit system as high risk. No bank will touch her. She complained to Mom. Word got back to me that Mom said, "Well, you thought you were smarter than everyone." And my parents? They're a mess. No money to finish the renovation. Can't find contractors. At least not ones who don't want full payment up front. The roof's leaking. Paint's peeling. One wall in the basement cracked over the winter. I heard Mom told a family friend. She abandoned us. We don't even have hot water. They're still blaming me, of course. But utility bills don't care who you guilt trip. It's almost been a year. There's a new cake on the table. This time it's not a unicorn, it's a galaxy. Stars. Planets. A frosting moon. The house is full of kids. Real ones. The ones who came not out of obligation, but because they wanted to. The ones who love Lily for who she is, not for who she is. She's laughing. Loud. The kind of laugh kids only have when they're not afraid of being told to hush. I'm sitting on the porch. Same spot as last year. Except this time, I'm breathing. Lily runs up to me, arms full of dandelions. Her freckles are practically glowing. "These are for you, Mommy." "Thanks, sweetheart. I was thinking, maybe we don't have to invite anyone unless they're really ours." I laughed. smiled at her. You're right, Lily. Only our people. Always. It was her birthday. But maybe it was the day I was born, too. So be honest. Would you have done the same? Or did I take it too far? I really want to know what you think. Drop a comment. And if this story hit home, hit subscribe. It means more than you think to know you're out there. That you're listening.
For Christmas, my parents got my 11-year-old a new iPhone. She was over the moon. Then she saw something on the screen and asked, "What is it, Mama?" I looked at it and my blood ran cold. I didn't shout. I took action. 2 hours later, their lives started to unravel. I know how it sounds. Like I'm about to tell you the kind of story people only believe if there's a court transcript and a Netflix documentary, but this was my Christmas. We were at Mom and Dad's house, because that's where Lily and I live. After my divorce, I moved back temporarily, which is what adults say when they're trying to convince themselves they haven't hit rock bottom. Lily and I have the upstairs bedroom, my childhood home, now featuring my child and my pride, both crammed into the same space. Christmas morning looked like every other Christmas morning in that house. Tree lights blinking like they were trying to hypnotize everyone into behaving, wrapping paper stacked like snowdrifts, cinnamon candles burning so aggressively it smelled like a bakery exploded. Brenda was there early, of course. My sister doesn't arrive anywhere. She makes an entrance. She came in carrying gift bags like Santa's favorite intern, and her 12-year-old son Ryan trailing behind her with that easy confidence boys have when the world has spent years assuring them they're the main character. Ryan is the golden grandchild. If Mom and Dad had a family crest, it would just be his face. Lily knows that. She doesn't say it out loud. She doesn't have to. She's learned the same trick I learned. Smile, stay small, be good, and maybe, someone will finally look at you like you matter. Lily had on her Christmas pajamas and the careful smile she saves for moments when she doesn't want to get her hopes up. She sat on the carpet with her hands in her lap, waiting her turn like she was in line at the DMV, not Christmas morning. Ryan, meanwhile, was already tearing through presents like he was speedrunning joy. New sneakers, a gaming headset, something electronic that made Dad do that proud laugh like Ryan had personally cured disease. Lily clapped politely at all of it. She actually clapped. My kid has better manners than most adults I know. And then Mom said, in that bright, performative voice she uses when she wants credit, "Okay, this one is for Lily." I almost missed it because I was busy watching Ryan get another box and watching my daughter pretend it didn't sting. Mom slid a rectangular package across the carpet. I saw the shape. I saw the way Lily's eyes widened before she tried to tame them back into polite. I saw her glance at me, quick, nervous, like she needed permission to believe. Is this really for me?" she asked, soft. Mom smiled. Dad nodded once. Brenda's mouth twitched at the corner like she was watching a punchline she already knew. Lily peeled back the paper slowly, like she was afraid if she moved too fast the gift would evaporate into socks. And there it was. An iPhone box. Not the newest model, not the kind influencers unbox with manicured nails and ring lights, but still, an iPhone. A real one. The kind of gift Ryan would get without anyone blinking. Lily stared at it like it was proof of something she'd been trying to earn all year. "Oh my gosh," she whispered. She looked up at Mom, then Dad, then me, like she was taking attendance. Like she needed to make sure everyone saw her being chosen. "Thank you," she said immediately. Because that's who she is. Because she's learned the right words make adults less likely to change their minds. Mom watched Lily's face closely, like she was waiting for a bigger reaction. Dad watched too, quiet and heavy. Brenda leaned back, arms folded, calm as anything. Ryan smirked at the tree. Lily held the box with both hands and hugged it to her chest. She didn't even open it right away. She just held it. And my heart did this stupid thing where it jumped up and said, maybe. Maybe this is different. Maybe this year is different. Because I'm apparently the kind of person who will touch a hot stove twice just to confirm it's still hot. Mom cleared her throat. We thought it was time she had something nice. For safety. So she can call you if she needs to. Yeah, Dad added. He always sounded like he was reading from a script he didn't agree with. Kids need phones these days. Brenda nodded like she'd personally authored Modern Parenting. Lily kept smiling. She kept looking at the box like it was love wrapped in cardboard. We didn't fully open it there. Not really. Mom made a whole little speech about setting it up later and doing it properly, and Lily nodded like she didn't care, like she wasn't vibrating from the inside out. But I saw the way her fingers kept tapping the corner of the box, like she was checking it was still real. A little later, once the chaos downstairs got loud and Ryan disappeared into the living room with his new gadgets, Lily tugged my sleeve. Can we go upstairs? She asked, trying to sound casual. I knew what she meant. Our room. Our little corner of the house where she could be excited without feeling watched. Yeah, I said. Let's go. Upstairs, she sat on the bed and opened the box like it was sacred. She lifted the lid carefully, like it might bite her. And there it was, silver and sleek and beautiful, sitting in its little cradle. She let out this tiny sound, half laugh, half sob. I can't believe they got me this, she said. I tried to smile. I tried to be the mom who lets her kid have the moment without poisoning it with suspicion. I really did. She picked it up and turned it over in her hands, and then she frowned. Wait, she said. Why does it look like that? There were scratches. Not huge gouges, nothing dramatic, but enough to catch the light. Enough to make my stomach tighten. It's probably refurbished, I said immediately. Too fast. Like I was trying to convince myself. That's normal. Lots of people buy refurbished. Lily nodded. She wanted to believe. She wanted to believe so badly she could have convinced herself the phone was carved out of a potato as long as it meant her grandparents cared. She pressed the power button. The screen lit up. A logo flashed. And then, too quickly, it went straight to a home screen. Not a setup screen. Not a hello screen. A home screen. Lily blinked. Is it already on? Before I could answer, a notification dropped down from the top. Just a banner. A few words. Lily leaned closer, squinting, and then looked up at me with that open, trusting face. What is it, Mama? She asked. I leaned in, and for a second, my brain refused to translate what my eyes were reading, because those words didn't belong on a child's Christmas present. Those words didn't belong on any phone a kid was holding. My blood ran cold so fast it felt like my body forgot how to be warm. I didn't shout. I didn't snatch it and run screaming down the stairs. I forced my face into something normal, something gentle. I said, like it was nothing, like it was a weather alert. That's weird. Let me see. Lily handed me the phone without hesitation, because she trusts me like children are supposed to. I tapped once, twice, just enough to see that this wasn't a glitch. This wasn't some random spam message. This was a trail, a history, a mess. And the worst part was the quiet realization that followed right behind it. Someone in this house knew exactly what was on this phone. I looked at Lily, still smiling, still hopeful, and I felt something in my chest crack. I set the phone down gently on the bed like it might explode. "Sweetie," I said, keeping my voice light, "why don't you go brush your teeth? We'll finish setting it up in a minute." She hesitated. "But—" "2 minutes," I said. "Promise." Lily slid off the bed and padded into the bathroom. The second the door clicked shut, I picked up the phone again. My hands were steady. My stomach wasn't. Because I already knew this wasn't just a mistake, and whatever I had just seen was going to change everything. Lily fell asleep like she'd been handed a piece of magic and nothing else mattered. Of course she did. She's 11. She can go from "I can't believe it" to drooling on my pillow in under 10 minutes. Meanwhile, I lay there staring at the ceiling like it owed me an explanation. Once her breathing settled, I picked the phone back up. I didn't do the mature thing. I didn't put it away and deal with it tomorrow. I'd already seen enough on that screen to know tomorrow might be too late. So yeah, I dug. WhatsApp opened without asking me to log in. No setup, no verification. Just an inbox already full of history, like the phone had a life before it ever touched my daughter's hands, and whoever wrapped it up didn't bother to wash it first. I scrolled. The first thing that hit me wasn't one horrible message. It was the sheer volume. The same target, again and again. Long threads where the tone didn't soften, didn't reset, didn't end. It wasn't a fight. It was a routine. I checked call logs. Same number popping up over and over. Missed calls, repeated attempts, back to back like someone was trying to wear the other person down by sheer persistence. Contacts were a mess. Random numbers, stupid nicknames, entries that looked like someone didn't want this phone connected to anything real. And then I saw the name. Emily. My throat went tight. Emily was a girl from Lily's school. Not someone Lily talked about much, which honestly is part of what made it worse. Because even if your kid isn't involved, you still hear things. You hear the whispers at pickup. You see the sudden caution in teachers' faces. You catch the way parents lower their voices like the truth is contagious. Emily had disappeared mid-year, transferred, gone. Just not there anymore. I remembered one parent saying her parents went to the police. Like that was the shocking part. Like calling the police was the scandal, not whatever had driven a kid out of her school. Now Emily's name was sitting inside a phone my parents handed to my daughter for Christmas. I didn't need every detail to understand the shape of it. I saw enough to know this wasn't kids being mean. It was sustained, designed. A drip feed of humiliation and intimidation that felt deliberate, like someone had made a hobby out of making one girl miserable. I clicked into media and immediately regretted having thumbs. There were images saved in there. I caught a glimpse, angle, context, the kind of wrong you don't have to study to understand, and I backed out so fast my hand slipped. No, I wasn't doing that to myself. And I wasn't letting that sit in Lily's orbit for one more second than necessary. I set the phone down and stared at it like it might start buzzing again, like it might crawl across the dresser and keep doing what it had been doing. Okay, so, how did this end up in my kids' hands? My brain offered the easiest answer first, because brains love denial. It's their favorite hobby. Maybe it was Ryan's old phone. That part actually made sense. Ryan is the golden grandchild. He gets upgrades like other kids get haircuts. A new phone for him wouldn't be special. It would be expected. And if he'd kept an old one as a spare, well, kids do dumb things with spare devices, especially kids who think rules are for other people. Maybe mom and dad just re-gifted it. Cheap, lazy, thoughtless, but not malicious, and I could almost handle thoughtless. Thoughtless is familiar, because none of this was happening in a vacuum. Nothing in my family ever does. Brenda has been the chosen one for as long as I can remember. Mom and Dad never sat me down and announced it like a villain speech. They didn't have to. In that house, love has always had a direction, and it rarely pointed at me. When Brenda had Ryan, the favoritism didn't vanish. It just updated. Ryan became the center of gravity. Everything he did was boys being boys. He's just spirited. He's got so much potential. Mistakes got brushed off. Attitude got reframed as confidence. Trouble got softened into misunderstandings. Lily, my Lily, learned the opposite lesson. Be polite. Be grateful. Don't make noise. Try harder. She claps for Ryan's gifts like she's at an awards show. She says thank you for practical presents with the same careful smile every year. She gets straight A's like she's applying for approval. And when she helps clear plates without being asked, she watches Mom and Dad's faces like she's waiting for the moment they finally decide she matters too. I hate that I recognize it so well, because I used to do it. That's why that iPhone box hit her like a miracle. That's why she hugged it to her chest like it was proof of something. That's why I let myself hope for half a second, even though I should have known better. Now I was sitting in the dark with evidence of someone else's cruelty on a device meant for my child, and that hope felt like a joke I'd laughed at too early. I picked the phone up again. I didn't know yet if my parents were just clueless or complicit. That was the part I couldn't solve from the screen alone. Should I wake Mom and Dad? March downstairs and shove it in their faces? Ask if they knew what they'd handed to Lily? Or would they do what they always do? Tell me I'm overreacting, tell me I'm dramatic, tell me to stop making trouble, while quietly fixing whatever needed fixing behind my back? Downstairs I heard movement. A chair scrape. Brenda's voice, tight, quick. Mom's lower, controlled. Dad's gravelly calm. They sounded normal, which, in my family, is usually the scariest part, because normal is what they wear over whatever they're trying to hide. I set the phone down, stepped into the hallway barefoot, and started toward the stairs. Quiet, careful, heart hammering, because whatever was about to happen next, I needed to hear it with my own ears. When I reached the staircase, I heard Brenda's voice, tight, fast, sharp, and my body stopped moving before my brain even caught up. "She's going to notice," Brenda hissed. Mom's voice floated back, too calm. "She already thinks it's refurbished." Dad spoke quietly, like he was trying to keep the walls from hearing. "She won't do anything. She never does." My throat went dry. I stayed still. Because I've known my parents my whole life. And that tone, Dad's confident calm, Mom's soothing reassurance, that was the tone they used when they'd made a decision for me and expected me to accept it. Brenda's voice again. "The school is involved. Emily's parents aren't letting it go. They're going crazy." Mom snapped. "Because it was serious." There was a pause. Then Brenda said softer, "I didn't think it would get this far." Dad's chair creaked. "It got this far because Ryan wouldn't stop." My stomach clenched so hard I thought I might actually be sick. Brenda's voice rose. "He's a kid!" "And Lily isn't?" Mom shot back. And for one horrifying second, I almost felt gratitude until she added, "Lily's just easier." There it was, the part they said out loud without meaning to. Easy. Disposable. I pulled my phone out with shaking hands and hit record. Not because I was thinking clearly, because instinct is what shows up when shock takes your brain offline. Brenda spoke again. "What if the police trace it? What if they... Dad cut in. They won't trace it to Ryan if the phone isn't with Ryan. Mom sighed like she was exhausted by everyone else's incompetence. We gave her the phone. It's in her room. It's in her hands. Brenda. But it's Lily's phone now. Mom's voice turned almost pleased. Exactly. Brenda exhaled hard. Kate is going to freak out. Dad's reply was flat. Kate's always dramatic. My hand tightened around my phone so hard my knuckles ached. Brenda said, And Lily... Mom interrupted, dismissive. Lily's a good girl. She'll be fine. Brenda's voice sharpened. Kate thinks her daughter is perfect. Dad chuckled, low and mean. Well, maybe this will knock her down a peg. Brenda laughed, just a little. And something inside me went perfectly, terrifyingly still. Because this wasn't just them trying to protect Ryan. This was them choosing Lily as the fall guy. Because Lily was easy. Because Kate was dramatic. Because Ryan mattered. I backed away from the stairs as quietly as I could, my phone still recording until I got back to the bedroom and shut the door. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hit stop. I played it back once, just enough to confirm it wasn't my imagination. It wasn't. I sat on the edge of the bed and stared at the phone like it was radioactive. Lily walked in, hair damp from the bathroom, toothbrush in hand. Can I have it now? She asked, grinning. I forced my face into calm, into normal. Yeah, I said. But first, listen to me, okay? Her smile faltered. What? We're going to go out for a bit, I said, light, casual, like I hadn't just heard my family volunteer my child as collateral damage. A little surprise visit. A surprise? She perked up immediately. Kids love surprises. Adults fear them. Yeah, I said. Go put on shoes and grab your jacket. She ran to the closet. I packed fast, quiet, controlled. Not like I was going on vacation. Like I was evacuating. A couple outfits. Lily's toothbrush. My wallet. Chargers. The phone. Both phones. The iPhone and mine. I texted my friend Sandra with one thumb. Me. Can we come over? Like, now. Sandra. Yes. What's wrong? Me. I'll explain when I get there. I stared at that yes like it was a lifeline. Lily bounced back over. Okay, where are we going? I lifted my bag onto my shoulder and opened the door. Downstairs, I could hear Mom laughing again, Christmas music still playing, like this house wasn't full of people plotting to ruin my kid's life. Lily skipped ahead of me down the stairs. Mom looked up. Where are you going? Just out for a bit, I said, and my voice didn't shake. Sleepover. Mom's smile tightened. A sleepover? On Christmas? Yeah, I said. Lily's excited. Lily nodded enthusiastically. Sleepover! Dad's eyes narrowed slightly, like he could sense something slipping out of his grip. Brenda watched me too closely. Ryan shuffled into the room behind her, rubbing sleep from his eyes. He looked at the bag, then at me, and smirked. I didn't look away. I didn't say a word. Because I had his Christmas present upstairs, and it wasn't a phone. It was consequences. We walked out the front door. Cold air hit my face like a slap. Lily tugged my hand. Mama? Yeah, baby? Did I do something wrong? She asked, small. My heart broke cleanly in half. No, I said, instantly. No, you didn't. Not ever. She searched my face, trying to understand. I squeezed her hand. I promise. and I drove us straight to Sandra's house, knowing that the second I closed that door behind Lily, I was going to set something in motion that Mom, Dad, and Brenda would never be able to put back in the box. Sandra opened her door before I even knocked all the way, like she'd been standing there waiting. One look at my face and she didn't ask questions. She just stepped aside. "Come in," she said softly. Lily ran past us, instantly distracted by Sandra's dog and the promise of snacks. Bless children and their ability to pivot. Sandra guided Lily into the living room. "Hot chocolate?" "Yes," Lily chirped, like we were having the best Christmas adventure ever. I followed Sandra into the kitchen. "What happened?" she asked. I set the bag down. I set the phone down. My hands finally started to tremble now that Lily wasn't watching. Sandra's eyes flicked to the phone. "Kate." "I overheard them," I said. "They gave Lily a phone on purpose. Not as a gift. As a dumpster." Sandra's mouth tightened. "Your sister?" "And Mom and Dad," I said. My voice went flat. "All of them." I took a breath, forced myself back into control. "I need Lily safe here," I said. "Just a few days." "Of course," Sandra said immediately. "As long as you need." Lily's laughter drifted from the living room. I swallowed hard. "Don't tell her anything," I said. "Not details. She shouldn't have to carry this." Sandra nodded. "Go do what you need to do." I left Lily with Sandra, told her I'd be right back, kissed her forehead, and walked out before I changed my mind. In the car, I didn't cry. Crying is what you do when you have time. I didn't have time. I drove straight to the station. The roads were quiet in that strange holiday way, like the world was pretending nothing bad ever happens on Christmas. My hands stayed steady on the wheel, but my chest felt tight, like I was holding my breath without realizing it. Inside, everything was fluorescent and calm and painfully normal. I told them what I needed to tell them, that the phone had been given to my daughter as a gift, that it hadn't been reset, that it contained messages and calls that didn't belong anywhere near a child, that I had overheard a conversation and recorded it. I slid the phone across the counter, then my own. "I think this is connected to a case involving a girl named Emily," I said. "Her parents already went to the police. This phone, I think it's part of that." The officer didn't gasp. He didn't frown dramatically. He just nodded once, slow, like something had clicked into place. "They took everything, logged it, bagged it, asked me to walk them through the timeline. Christmas morning, upstairs, what I saw, what I heard, when I left." I answered calmly, not because I felt calm, but because panic wouldn't help Lily, and that was the only thing that mattered anymore. They gave me a case number and told me someone would follow up. That was it. No promises, no speeches, just procedure. That was enough. When I got back to Sandra's, Lily was curled up on the couch in pajamas, wrapped in a blanket that was definitely not hers, eyes glued to a movie she'd already half forgotten. "Mom," she said when she saw me, "did you get the phone fixed?" My stomach clenched. "Not yet," I said, keeping my voice even. "It needs to be checked first. I'll explain later, okay? Not tonight." She frowned for a second, then shrugged. "Okay," and turned back to the screen. Kids are like that. They trust you to hold the heavy things so they don't have to. I sat down beside her and tried to breathe like a normal person. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I ignored it. It buzzed again. Then again. I already knew who it was. When I finally looked, there were missed calls stacked on top of each other, from Mom, From Dad? From Brenda? Then the phone rang again. I answered and immediately put it on speaker. All three voices hit me at once. "What were you thinking?" Brenda snapped. "Are you out of your mind?" Mom said over her. Dad cut in, sharp. "You went to the police?" I stayed quiet. They filled the silence quickly, like people who couldn't stand not being in control. "He's a child," Brenda said. "Do you have any idea what you've done?" "You're ruining his future," Mom added. This didn't need to go this far. I closed my eyes. A stupid, hopeful part of me was still waiting for it. One sentence, one excuse, one we didn't know. It never came. Instead, Brenda said, "The police are asking questions about Emily, about that phone." Mom jumped in immediately. "You knew this was already an issue. You knew her parents went to the police." Dad exhaled hard. "We were trying to handle it." "By giving it to my daughter?" I asked quietly. There was a pause. Just long enough. "She would have been fine," Mom said. "Nothing was going to happen to Lily." Brenda scoffed. "Ryan could get expelled over this." And there it was. They knew. They knew it was tied to Emily. They knew police were already involved. They knew exactly what they were handing to my child. And they did it anyway. Something inside me settled, not shattered. Settled. "This conversation is over," I said. "Kate," Dad started. "I'm done," I said. My voice didn't shake. "Do not contact me again." I hung up. Lily laughed at something on the screen, completely unaware of the moment my family ceased to exist as a safe place. The confusion was gone. So was the hope. What was left was clarity. And I sat there, holding on to that clarity, knowing there was no going back from it. 6 months later, my life is quiet. Not the awkward, holding your breath kind of quiet. The good kind. The kind that lets you sleep through the night without your phone lighting up and your stomach dropping before you even read the screen. After that call, I didn't wait around to see what they'd do next. I cut them off. All of them. Blocked numbers. Emails filtered straight to trash. Social media locked down. When they tried to go through Lily, messages sent to her school, accidental run-ins, one very bold attempt to have someone else pass along a note, I shut that down too. I filed for no contact. Not a dramatic scene. Paperwork, signatures, dates. A very calm explanation that no one who had tried to use my child as collateral was welcome anywhere near her again. That part felt good. We moved a few weeks later. A rental, technically, but it doesn't feel temporary the way temporary used to feel at Mom and Dad's. It's bright, clean, quiet. Lily has her own room, her own door, and a say in what goes on the walls. The first night there, she sprawled out on her bed and said, "It feels peaceful." That's how I knew I'd done the right thing. I didn't hear about the fallout directly. I didn't want to. But news travels in families like mine whether you ask for it or not. Ryan was expelled, not asked to transfer. Expelled. The school didn't dress it up and they didn't wait it out. Once the investigation wrapped up, that was it. My parents didn't go to prison, but they didn't walk away clean either. Trying to dump evidence onto a child to keep it out of someone else's hands doesn't look great when it's written down and played back. Community service, probation. Mandatory classes they'll insist were humiliating and unfair to anyone who'll listen. From what I hear, a lot fewer people are listening these days. Brenda moved from furious to quiet. That's usually what happens when someone realizes the version of the story they rehearsed doesn't work outside the family bubble. Emily's parents sent me a short message. Just a thank you. Nothing dramatic, just relief. I cried when I read it. Then I deleted it. Not because I didn't care, but because I didn't need proof anymore that I'd done the right thing. Lily is happy now. Not the careful, polite version of happy. The loud one, the messy one, the kind that laughs without checking anyone's face first. And me? I don't miss them. I miss the idea of the family I wanted, but that family never actually existed. This one does. So, what do you think? Did I go too far? Or not far enough? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more.